Continuing now with reaction to the growing tension between the Obama administration and Israel and whether or not Donald Trump's penchant for Twitter will impact U.S. foreign policy. Delaware Senator Chris Coons joins us from Wilmington. Senator Coons, a Democrat, sits on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, let's begin with some of the reaction to the previous segment and John Kerry's speech today regarding Israel. Your thoughts?
Well, Eric, I generally respect how hard Secretary Kerry has worked over the last 4 years to try and pursue peace in the Middle East and in other places around the world, to try and stand up to Russian aggression in Ukraine and try and find a solution in Syria. But I really question the timing and the purpose of today's speech. I do think that Obama should have directed his ambassador to veto the resolution at the United Nations last Friday. And while I think Secretary Kerry has worked tirelessly to try and make progress in Israeli-Palestinian negotiations, the speech that he gave today really was a reflection on a peace process that came to an end 2 years ago. And I'm not sure that it made any real progress in bringing Israelis and Palestinians together. That should
be the only purpose, right? Find a solution to the problem in the region. And this feels like it's dividing the region rather than bringing them together.
I have some real concerns about that. I did hear Secretary Kerry to principally be saying that he is gravely concerned that the prospects for a two-state solution are rapidly diminishing, and that actions taken by Abbas and the Palestinian Authority and by Prime Minister Netanyahu make it harder and harder for a two-state solution to be realized. And I support that. American presidents going back decades to Ronald Reagan have supported a two-state solution, and since Oslo, it's been our view as a nation that we would block any efforts by the Palestinians at the United Nations to seek recognition and instead push both parties to negotiate directly the sorts of complex and difficult final status issues that Secretary spoke about today. Secretary Kerry spoke about today.
Donald Trump tweeted, he said, he basically referencing this whole issue with the resolution and the U.S. absolving, choosing not to veto the resolution. He said, don't worry, January 20th is coming soon. Your thoughts on Donald Trump undoing everything President Obama and John Kerry are doing right now?
Well, I think part of why Donald Trump won the election is millions of Americans liked his freewheeling, unscripted, throw away the playbook style. And I recognize that his undisciplined 3 a.m. tweets on all sorts of topics shakes things up and makes him a different sort of leader. But as we get closer to Inauguration Day, I think we're running into some real problems. We only have one president at a time. And I would hope that Donald Trump, in the remaining 3 weeks of the Obama presidency, would focus on his transition and not insert himself in so many challenges around the world. On his first day as president, he's going to get handed a whole lot of challenges he's got to confront, from North Korea's nuclear program to China's aggression in the South China Sea to Russia's aggression in Ukraine and in Syria. Why he needs to stir the pot on things like Taiwan,
maybe because there are a lot of people, a lot of voters who voted a president like Donald Trump into office who disagree with a lot of things they're hearing on Iran, on the UN sanctioning of Israel, on sanctioning Russia, in fact, with 23 days left before the end of the presidency. So Donald Trump, my guess is that he's saying, hey, don't worry, relax, we can undo a lot of these initiatives.
And it's clear that he does intend to undo much of Obama's legacy, and that's created some tension between them that's erupted in recent tweets back and forth. My larger point, Eric, is that I question how Donald Trump's going to conduct himself as president. Is he going to be shooting out 3 a.m. tweets?
What's wrong with the tweets?
His press conference.
Senator, what's wrong with the tweets? What's wrong with the tweets? I personally like the fact that the idea that I can get a succinct thought in a couple of lines, 140 characters, and find out where the man stands on issues.
Well, I know a lot of Americans like that sort of bluntness and directness. Let's take a very recent example. He raised the question of whether we shouldn't strengthen and expand our nuclear arsenal and potentially renew the arms race, the nuclear arms race with Russia. He sent that out in a tweet. Then his spokesperson sort of walked it back and said that's not exactly what he said. And then he reasserted it later the same day. And then he got a response from Putin and a response from the Chinese. He's going to be handed so many crises on his first day as president that I don't know why he needs to, in my view, send off unguided tweets that then
So
change the whole
Senator, you don't
focus
want
of
to
our
see him
news for an
tweeting.
entire day.
You don't want to see him tweeting from the POTUS account, Twitter account?
Well, President Obama tweets regularly. I think it's fine for a president to tweet. My concern is that he's doing it directly, personally, without consulting the leaders of the Defense Department, State Department, the intelligence community. And my hunch is it's going to make it hard for his administration to have a disciplined focus on confronting the very real security challenges we all face.
Unorthodox for sure. We're going to leave it right there. Senator Coons, thank you very much.